So, if you are a closer who has ever lost a deal to the phrase, "Oh, I need to talk to my wife," this is for you. Okay, you're losing these deals because you're trying to argue logic when the objection isn't about logic. Okay, at all. It's about a fear of responsibility. I've learned this, and I'm going to show you how to reframe that objection using the heavy crown principle, a psychological technique that forces your prospect to reclaim their authority and make a decision on the script. And you're going to be learning the exact script and technique to turn the "oh, I need to ask for permission" into "this is my decision to make." But to use it, you must be willing to challenge your prospect's perception of themselves. Okay, when a prospect says, "I need to talk to my spouse," they are not asking for a second opinion. They are abdicating their power. They are handing their crown to someone who wasn't even in the room or on the sales call. Like the amateur salesperson tries to fight this. They list benefits, schedule another call, try to sell the spouse indirectly. This is a losing battle. Okay, but you are validating their weakness. You are agreeing that they are not the one on charge, and by doing this, you are letting them take the easy way out. When you do that, and that means the sale dies. Not because the spouse would have said no, but because you allowed your prospect to avoid the discomfort of making a decision. You let them give away their crown. That's the mistake. Here's what masters do. They don't argue. They reframe. They hand the crown back. You look them in the eye, okay, you acknowledge their position, and then you deploy like the heavy crown principle. Here's what you say. You say, "Okay, I understand, but like, do you know the saying that goes like, heavy is the head that wields the crown?" Maybe they're gonna say yes, maybe they're gonna say no. Either way, you continue. That phrase comes from an era where a king's word was law. Okay, he had the power to send men to war, to raise or lower taxes, to decide the fate of thousands with a single command. Okay, the weight wasn't the gold on his head; it was the crushing burden of the consequences that came with every single one of his decisions. Then you deliver the reframe. It's not the crown that's heavy, actually. It's the decision you have to make while wearing it. And then you bring it back to them. You force them to confront the role. Like, let me ask you this. Like, who is the one on these calls trying to build a business? Like, who is the one responsible for learning this skill to provide for your family? Is that your job or your wife's? And they're always going to say, "Oh, this is my job." Okay, cool. But now that they have reclaimed their crown and admitted their responsibility, you ask the final closing question. Okay, cool. Exactly. I believe that too. But so do you think it's fair to make the decision that impacts your job, your responsibility, someone else's decision? And the answer is almost always going to be no. And by doing that, you've just successfully reframed the conversation from asking for permission to taking ownership. But this technique requires to be fearless. You gotta have the balls. You must be willing to hold that mirror up to your prospect. And then the decision is no longer about your program, it's about whether they are the kind of person who wields a crown or the kind of person who gives it away. So just stop letting your prospects abdicate their power. And when they try to hand you the spouse objection, don't accept it. Remind them of the weight of their crown. Because a true leader, a true provider, understand that their hardest decisions are theirs and theirs alone to make. If you use this principle, you won't just close a deal. You're going to be emotionally creating a king in the household. So if you're wondering, who is this kid? My name is Seth. I'm 19 years old, and 1 month ago, I made myself the promise to break into the high-ticket sales industry in 3 months with no prior experience. Okay, so if you're curious, if a 19-year-old child from Africa could actually make it into the space, just subscribe and follow along. I'm going to be documenting the whole journey from A to Z, from starting to getting my first job and making 10K a month and building my personal brand and beyond. And yeah, we'll see where this leads us. I'm posting daily, so tomorrow you're going to be seeing another video of me. And I hope that you see enough videos of me so that you actually subscribe. Have a nice one. I'll see you tomorrow.